Hey everybody, welcome to, I think it's day 12.
Who knows anymore?
No idea. The days are blurring into one. You wake up, you get dressed, you walk, you eat, you go to bed, and then you do it again. So it's kind of cool, but the sheep are bleating around us.
Yes, and we've just made our way down from the highlands. We're now in the lowlands, going into the borderlands.
The border country,
which is very exciting. But Pete, you've actually been here before.
I have. It's kind of funny being back here, because just behind the camera there's a campsite, and it's one of the few campsites I stayed on when I was walking on my own. I was wild camping most of the time, and I checked in. It was like mid-October. It was horrible weather, and they sent me to the camping field. There were no other tents. There was just like this concrete toilet block in the middle. It's just there. And so I thought, well, before I put my tent up in the rain, I'm just going to go and use the facilities in this concrete block. Yeah. So I went in, and what occurred to me as the rain was hammering down on the roof of the toilet block was, it's dry, it's warm in here, there's an electric plug socket.
I'm seeing where this is going.
Yeah. And so, well, exactly, so everyone would have done the same thing. So instead of putting my tent up that night, I put my sleeping bag down between kind of the pedestal of the toilet and the shower, and I was so happy. I felt like a king amongst men, and I sent a message to my a video message to my family, just saying, this is unbelievable. And they said to me, I think you're cracking up finally, Dad. And then we switched off the lights, and I went to sleep, and then I found out that it's one of those toilets where it's light sensitive, so every time I moved it was like cold. It's all the lights came on, and so I couldn't move all night. And then I started laughing because I thought, this is so ridiculous. Yeah. And I couldn't stop laughing, because then I thought, I'm alone in a toilet block, the only person on a campsite in the middle of Scotland, and I just literally I laughed till I wept on my own.
Perhaps your family were right.
Maybe I was cracking up. Life's absurd. What can I say? Yes.
Anyway,
today's lecture.
Yeah.
It's not many places that you, in fairness, go from stories about toilet blocks to ancient spiritual practices.
Yeah.
But we do it here.
Yeah. And the listeners will be happy to know that Pete wanted to film.
Watchers.
The watchers.
Listeners.
Sorry.
Well, it's
you are watching.
It's a
this.
visual form.
Yes. You lovely people will be happy to know Pete actually wanted to set up in front of that toilet. I said, not a chance, when the nature is this beautiful. We're setting up here. Anyway.
It would have been gold, comedy gold.
Lectio 365. We're starting 3 days looking at the 6 practices of Lectio 365. Yeah. And today we're looking at the practices of prayer and creativity.
We are.
So, Pete, I'd love to know, where'd you come up with these practices? Did you sit down and write them on a napkin one day?
Okay, let me see if you remember them. So these are the 6 practices, the heart of Lectio 365, prayer and creativity. What are the other 4? Prayer
and creativity, hospitality and learning, mission and justice.
I'll tell you where it came from. A lot of people don't know is Lectio 365 is actually the prayer resource of a religious order called the Order of the Mustard Seed that was established in the 1700s by Count Ludwig Nicolaus von Zinzendorf. I'm a member of that order. We've got members all around the world. It's like an officially registered religious order with the House of Abbots and Bishops. Yeah. And we take 3 vows, which go right back to Zinzendorf. He was the leader of the Moravian movement, And the 3 vows that we've been doing now since 1700 and whatever is this: to be true to Christ, to be kind to people. I love that it's kind. It's not just to love people, to be kind to them. I find it much harder sometimes. Yeah. And to take the gospel to the nations. Yeah. And so those were the vows that motivated Zinzendorf to change the world. And they're vows I took in 2005, and they shaped my life. But one of my former mentors, Floyd McClung, sat me down and said, I love this, but what does it mean in practice? Because all Christians kind of make the vows to the Great Commandment, Great Commission: love God, love your neighbour, preach the gospel. Yeah. And so, if you imagine a triangle, the 3 vows, we express each of those sides of that triangle in 2 practical ways. So so true to Christ we express through prayer and creativity. That's what we're looking at today.
Yep.
Kind to people, we don't just go around trying to be nice. We express that through a radical commitment to justice and to hospitality. And then gospel to the nations, what's that about? For us, that's about evangelism. You've got to actually tell people about Jesus.
Yeah.
And it's about learning. We learn in the context of mission.
Yeah.
So that's where the 6 practices came from. And that's why Lectio 365 cycles through those 6 practices.
Right. Yeah.
Because they're at the heart of the Order of the Mustard Seed.
And prayer makes a lot of sense, being true to Christ.
Yep.
How does creativity play into being true to Christ?
Well, God is creative.
Right.
I mean, obviously, and the first thing we know about God is in the beginning God made. God's a creator. The Hebrews say that no human being can be a creative. We can only celebrate God's creativity.
Love that.
And so to me, to be a worshipper, to be filled with the Spirit, is to be filled with the very Spirit that created the universe.
Yeah.
And so it is a mark of being a follower of Jesus that we're creative. Now, it doesn't mean that we'll paint pictures. Jesus never played guitar.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But he was a worshipper.
Yeah.
So I think one of the marks of being made in the image of God is that human beings alone are creative. These sheep here are not writing sonnets.
Yeah.
The red deer that are just down behind us there are not about to form a rock and roll band.
Yeah.
It's something about being made in the image of God that makes us creative. And I think good art is not trying to make a point in a utilitarian sense. It is worshipful.
Yeah.
And that's why, and I'll finish with this, but it's interesting to me that when creative people, filmmakers, fashion industry, whatever, no longer believe in a creator,
Yeah.
philosophically, the thing that they are consumed with doing with their lives becomes a bit meaningless. Because there isn't any shape or form or meaning or purpose in life. It's just an accident.
Yeah.
And that's why art often becomes nihilistic. It just points nowhere. The most profound thing that many artists seem to be able to say is that art doesn't mean anything. So you end up with art as a pile of bricks in the Tate Modern, or just screaming tunelessly into a microphone. It's self-destructive. But the best art through history has come, some of the worst art through history has come from Christians, let's be honest, but also some of the greatest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talking about prayer and creativity, let's do it now.
Okay.
And so, Rich, I know you've been wanting me to sing.
Yeah. I think everybody would like you to sing.
Literally.
Pete plays the guitar, everybody.
Literally. Pete, nobody wants me to do that. But, Rich, I have noticed that with these songs that you're writing out on the road, that you seem to be able to just effortlessly knock out. It's really depressing. People are we're posting them and people are saying they're moved to tears, that the Holy Spirit's ministering to them, through them. It's amazing. So I'm just hoping you've got a song for us today.
Well, that's very kind. This song's actually I wrote last week Friday, based on the Lectio that was speaking about the Holy Spirit not being a tame dove, but being a wild goose.
The wildness of the Spirit.
The wildness of the Spirit. So it's a prayer just asking the Lord to send me where He sends me, send me where the wind blows, and that I'll be following that wild goose on the wind. So this is it.
Love it. Let's do the song.
Wild goose. I'll go get the guitar.
Okay.
Great. Lead me where the wind blows. May my feet go only where you go. Meet me there out on the road. Or would you lead me where the wind blows? Lead me where you send me, like a boat cast out into the sea. Break the concrete, from my feet? Or would you send me where you'd send me? Why goose on the wind? Leave me where the wind blows. May my feet go only where you go, and where the path would take me, you alone, God knows. So leave me where the wind blows. Wild goose on the wind. Wild goose on the wind. Wild goose on the wind. Wild goose on the wind.
Very good.
Add videographer to your
Yes, mate.